For this video, we're going to go over Hannah Arendt's concept of action that she writes in her book, The Human Condition. In the previous videos, we went over labor, which was the consumption or the process of consumption to sustain the life process. And we also went over work in the previous video, which was a creation of the human artifice, kind of the world in which we relate to. This final condition, which she calls action, has to do with human plurality. Hannah Arendt writes, "Plurality is the condition of human action because we are all the same, that is, human, in such a way that nobody is ever the same as anyone else who ever lived, lives, or will live." So whereas in labor, things are good insofar as they nourish the life process, and in work is good insofar as it is useful for doing things, action is good insofar as people are uniquely them, that they add something into the world that is completely unexpected and not part of the referential totality, what we talked about last time, of kind of usefulness in the world. According to Arendt, human plurality has two distinct characteristics, one being equality and the other being distinction. She writes, "If men were not equal, they could neither understand each other or those who came before them, nor plan for the future and foresee the needs of those who will come after them." So we're equal insofar as we recognize each other as people. If men were not distinct, each human being distinguished from any other who is, was, or will ever be, they would need neither speech nor action to make themselves understood. So we're distinct insofar as the way that we interact in the world, our speech and our action, which spontaneously arise in us, not due to any kind of external means. That we have some sort of free will, for example, is valuable. Our speech and our action, those things that will enable us to be the unique humans that we are, they're considered to be, according to Arendt, equal and co-equal. And it's actually not in so much as the substance of our speech and our talk that makes it unique, but the moment in time and the space of what we share with others in which we express ourselves that makes it unique. For Arendt, the speech itself is not that important. It's important only because it comes from a speaker. And not only because it comes with a speaker, but that speaker is addressing other people. It is this kind of gathering of people with speech and action, kind of this political sphere that makes human plurality what it is. However, by being the speaker and being the actor, Hannah Arendt says we're not an author of our story that we put in front of ourselves through our speech and our action, because by labeling ourselves as authors or creators, we're kind of reverting back to the Homer Faber or the fabrication work sphere of life, where we build things into the world. Hannah Arendt wants to argue that we, in our speech and action, aren't building ourselves. We are merely expressing as actors between other people. So if we quickly think of this from an ontological point of view, in the labor sphere, things are valuable, or things are seen as consumable. In the work sphere, things are seen as useful. And in the action sphere, in the political sphere, things are seen as constitutive of human affairs through action and speech. She says, "Left to themselves, they lack not only the tangibility of other things, but are even less durable and more futile than what we produce for consumption. Their reality depends entirely upon human plurality, upon the constant presence of others who can see and hear and therefore testify to their existence." Now, if we were with a group of other people and we viewed them as means to our ends, we're trying to do something, we're only going to see them as the means. We're not going to see entirely who they are and what their possibilities are. If they do something that's unexpected, we're not going to give gratitude to what that is. Instead, we're going to see that that's out of line and not towards our own goals. Therefore, we reject it. What Hannah Arendt is trying to say is that the unexpected quality of people, their ability to bring new things into the world, is that human plurality, and we should really give gratitude whenever that arises and give it its respect of what it's worth. And it's this unexpected activity which she calls action. She says, "Thus action not only has the most intimate relationship to the public part of the world common to us all, but is the one activity which constitutes it." Hannah Arendt believes that modern society has gotten to a place where it values conformity over unexpected action. And since we have prioritized life, and life wants to automate everything and put everything in order so that we can consume it, we no longer see the value in unexpected things, because unexpected things are usually seen as obstacles in the way of what we're trying to do. It's only action that lets us get out of that whole cycle of keeping on doing things the same way, always trying to increase our labor and our productivity. The unexpected things, appreciating them and seeing them for what they are, and seeing the people behind them and appreciating them as persons, as individuals, as human plurality, is what Hannah Arendt really is striving for here. She says, the fact that man is capable of action means that the unexpected can be expected from him, that he is able to perform what is infinitely improbable. And this, again, is possible only because each man is unique, so that with each birth, something uniquely new comes into the world. Now, as a hypothetical story, let's just think that someone else was born in your place. They had the same eyes, they had the same hair, they had the same body, such that when you were brought up, your parents didn't know the difference, and your friends didn't know the difference. The question is, if it isn't you, then what is actually missing in the world? It's this aspect that Hannah Arendt is really trying to identify, and this is the key ingredient to action in human plurality. It results in stories and memories where you say that only this person could have done this thing at this time. That's what makes that event so great. Our stories and our memories don't have value insofar as they're useful or we consume them, but we have gratitude towards them. This is one reason why Hannah Arendt is somewhat critical of science, because scientists only work on the universe itself and not people in the universe. She says, the action of scientists, since it acts into nature from the standpoint of the universe and not into the web of human relationships, lacks the revelatory character of action, as well as the ability to produce stories and become historical, which together form the very source from which meaningfulness springs into and illuminates human existence. In this way, Hannah Arendt is almost actually trying to solve nihilism, where if you think of the world or the universe as this kind of mechanistic process, where everything is cause and effect in a certain way, as if it was governed by universal laws, that free will was just an illusion that we had, and we really didn't have any significance at all. What Hannah Arendt is saying is that scientists have created this image of the world through perceiving the world as a mechanistic process. What Hannah Arendt is trying to say is that, no, it's not mechanistic. There is unexpected things, and those unexpected things come from people. Insofar as we ignore those things, we're going to see the world as mechanistic. It's only when we share a common world with others that we're able to ascribe meaning onto it. She says, the miracle that saves the world, the realm of human affairs, from its normal, natural ruin is ultimately the tact of natality, in which the faculty of action is ontologically rooted. It is, in other words, the birth of new men and the new beginning and the action they are capable of by virtue of being born. Only the full experience of this capacity can bestow upon human affairs faith and hope, those two essential characteristics of human existence. I think what Hannah Arendt is trying to hint at here is that insofar as society continues down the road that it's going, where it puts labor and work over action, we're never going to be able to ascribe any meaningful values onto the world. We're going to always see things as a means towards our own consumption and growth, and a means towards things being only good insofar as they are useful, without being able to see people and the unique, unexpected, spontaneous creatures or persons that they are. We aren't going to have good stories to tell at the end of our lives. We're not going to be able to give gratitude to the world